or slow down that bison fullback that we have working out there in the Bakken and Three Forks play. Please, every opportunity you get, talk to your congressman or senator about how important this is to the economy of North Dakota and how important it is that they keep that fullback running. Thank you for your time. It's great to be here, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you very much. We've got about 5 minutes for questions. Any questions? If not, I'll start with one. And Jim, I think one of the big things I hear a lot across North Dakota is the oil industry in North Dakota has a history of booms and busts. We've been very fortunate here to have some things that have always kept industry on the map somewhat. But the type of investment we're seeing and the magnitude of the play, if you're looking at a business opportunity in the Bakken, what are the thoughts from your standpoint?
Well, I mean, if you look at things that have gone on in other parts of the country and also in the Williston Basin in the past, you know, the industry has this history of boom and bust, but you always look at what caused it, what was the reason. And, you know, for us, we're a very price-driven business. I mean, we need to have a certain oil price in order to make it attractive for us to continue to invest dollars in North Dakota. So you would like to think that we would get to the point where we had some stable energy policy, energy plan in place that, you know, there's risk here for us too. We're investing these dollars on the hope that we're going to get this oil price out in the future. You'd like to have the United States develop a policy where you had at least some confidence in maybe a floor oil price, a floor energy price, something that would enable you to continue to make investments. So I guess we're just, you know, you'd like to have something that would prevent oil from going back down to $30 a barrel. And that's what's going to be required for us to continue to invest out here.
And it appears that one of the things that we're going to see as companies get through this initial phase of drilling to save their leasehold against their competitors, companies are going to begin to get more efficient, and we can lower the price threshold for the Bakken, which is now probably in that 55 to 70 range.
Yes.
Depending on where you're at and what you're producing, of course. But if we can continue to lower that threshold, it helps buffer the industry against prices. You know, from an employment standpoint, the industry in 2005 was about a $2 billion industry in North Dakota. It was a $12 billion industry in 2009. When we do our study again on 2011, we're going to be quite amazed at what we've seen in the last 2 years. But we've gone from a roughly 4,500 direct employees in the industry to my number is now about 35,000 direct employees on the ground in North Dakota. And each one of the employees that an oil operator has, there's probably a magnitude of 6 contractors for each of those employees. So we're going to continue to see that workforce grow. And you transition somewhat from a transient workforce that's really not transient right now because the drilling rigs are going to be here. But as you mature these fields, as I see them, each well that you drill, if you're going to drill 2,000 wells this year, each of those wells becomes a $6 billion business on the prairie. That business needs somebody to open it up every day, to tend for it all day long, and put it to bed at night. And every single day, each of those wells that we put are going to need that person for those 27 years, along with the associated gas plants, the trucking, and all of those components. So you will see a transition as we're seeing now in the Stanley area. We've seen in Bowman from the earlier Red River play, a long-term, stable people that want to certainly live. And the amount of building and housing that's going up in western North Dakota, you know, we hear a lot of stories about all the places you can't find a place to live, but the building is incredible. The numbers of apartments and homes and all of those different things. Scott, you have a question?
Yes. First off, my compliments to the panel. You've explained a very technical subject in a manner that even a recovering attorney can understand. You've talked a lot about the oil itself, but you touched on a number of different times on the business opportunities that are available throughout the state. North Dakota is notorious for educating people and shipping them off to some other parts of the nation. Is there an effort to take the information that you have, package it somehow or another, and pump it back into our high schools so that the students who are sitting in desks today will be aware of what the opportunities are and will consider careers back here in the state?
Thanks for your question. And we actually had a meeting with the chancellor and the vice presidents of the university system about 10 days ago, and have continually talked about the demands of the skilled workforce going forward, whether it's plumbers, truckers, computers. Those are the skill sets that you need. 1,000 people with 2 years or less degree for every one engineer. So an industry grows its own from within. We can teach them the things we need about the oil and gas industry. So we do have a program along with the lignite industry in North Dakota. We've got someone, it's called Energy Career Awareness Partnership. We've got someone out in the schools across the state on a regular basis, has reached over 80,000 students over the past 10 years. But we need to do more about the career and technical education aspect and letting parents, we've kind of ironed this down to parents, I think, that parents need to understand the tremendous opportunities for 2-year degrees and degrees that you can get in 6 months or less. Any big employer will provide that additional training to you once they get you on board. Jim?
Yeah, Ron, I'd just like to add something to that, because maybe the group here is not aware of this, but I'm going to use Whiting for example because that's one I know the most about. When we went public in 2003, the average age, we had 110 employees. The average age across our company was 55 years old. So what that tells you, we have a very aging workforce in the oil and gas business. What happened is, when I went to work in the oil business, 1974, we might remember the Arab oil embargo, huge influx of people into the industry. The downturn that happened in the 80s and 90s, nobody went to work in the oil and gas business. Because of our reputation, a lot of the schools, we currently at Whiting have one employee who went to the University of Colorado Boulder. They do not want to be involved in our industry. It's just not thought to be cool. We're not green, all that sort of things. So there's a huge demand in the oil and gas business for younger people. We need younger people in the industry. Today, Whiting has about 650 employees company-wide. We've only dropped our average age to 46 years old. So please, we put on information nights at Montana Tech, numerous schools here in North Dakota to try to encourage people. But I agree, we have to work at them younger. We've actually started a program in Denver. We bring in high school kids for a couple weeks during the summer just to expose them. And we've actually got a few of those kids to go on to Colorado School of Mines and